Today we've got the kind of guests you're going to enjoy on Memorial Day weekend. Karen Adler, the Barbecue Queen. She is a Kansas City publisher of barbecue books, and she's the author of a book called Q Queen's Easy Grilling and Simple Smoking. And Karen, what a busy weekend you must be having this weekend.
Well, between having my smoker going, planning on using the grill tonight, and talking on the radio, it's a busy one.
Yeah, I saw in the paper that 3/4 of all the adults in America say that they're going to be grilling this weekend.
Yeah, this is traditionally the big kickoff weekend.
Well, let me start out by asking what kind of tips you've got for people that are grilling, and then I'll get into some of the other things. What are some of the tips you've got for people that are grilling?
Well, if they're a little rusty or if they're novices just beginning, we'll talk charcoal grilling first. One of the things that I hear that seems to be one of the most unsuccessful things that people do on the grill is they overcook their meat. They catch it on fire, they burn it, and they just can't figure out why they can't control it. An easy tip is when you're putting that charcoal on the bottom grill grate, just put it on one side of the grate so that there's only heat on one side of your cooking surface. And then if you do happen to get some flames and you got a little bit too much heat, you can move the meat to the other side where there is no heat. So that's real simple.
Usually I put mine in the middle, but you're saying just move it to one side.
Move it to one side.
And then you've got a safe side also.
You bet. You bet.
What about some people like to cook stuff that's thawed really well, and others I've seen try to take stuff out of the freezer and put it on the grill. It's not really smart, I suppose, is it?
I would go with, I've never tried it just straight out of the freezer.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's too easy to carefully use your microwave on defrost.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're in a pinch and you're in a hurry and you didn't defrost what you're going to use. Some people really don't like that at all, but I have found no problem with that. And I would rather put the meat on that has thawed.
Now, when you use a grill, does the size matter?
The only thing that matters is that the amount of food that you're cooking can be held on the size of grill that you're cooking on, because it is nicer. Like if you have a family dinner or you have some friends over, and say there are 6 or 8 of you, it is nice to be able to just cook everything at one time rather than to do it in shifts. If you had a real big party, 20 or 40 people, you probably would be cooking the food in shifts.
There's some people who love to cook in shifts, though. They think that's really cool to stand out there and do that.
Yeah, good for them.
Well, I think even in your book you say you can almost turn this into something social. You said that if you feel comfortable, invite the guests out to kind of help you grill a little bit, right? Well,
a lot of the fun, kind of like a fondue party, only do it grill style, would be like having a kebabarama is what we call it, and having the different cubed meat, cubed vegetables, and let people choose what they want to put on their kebab and get them in the act so that they can, help cook, because some people like their meat, medium rare or rare, and some of them like it more well done.
And yet I know I've been to people's houses where they don't want you anywhere near their grill. Like the guy, this is his territory. You don't want to get anybody near this thing.
Yeah, well, some of the new grills have a little more of a horizontal layout to them, where you can get, 2 or 3 people right around the cooking surface than some of the little smaller grills.
Mm-hmm.
And so many of them have work areas to either side of the grill now. Those are real handy, and I think it makes it easier for people to be part of it.
But some of them are really expensive. Some of these grills they've got out there now, they're selling them for thousands of dollars.
I think it's the like the Viking range syndrome, where a lot of people have gotten those beautiful professional ovens and stoves inside their kitchen, and they love them. They're professional. They're easy to cook on. They're gas, and the same manufacturers, because so many of them are stainless steel, they are perfect for the outdoor kitchen, because the stainless steel will take the elements of the outdoors without any damage to them.
So
but they're expensive.
It does make a difference, you're saying? If you grill on something that's more expensive? I mean, if I just buy a little cheapo one at the department store, it's going to have a poorer taste than if I buy an expensive thing?
No. I think that's more aesthetics.
Oh.
And the look and cocooning and making this backyard, patio deck just top of the line.
Yeah.
No, you can
make something taste good with anything. I mean, how about those ones on TV you see where they stuff the newspaper in and they start the newspaper on fire? You seen those?
I haven't.
Oh, I don't know what they call them. They're infomercials they've got where they have a guy go out in a parking lot and just stuff some newspapers and starts those on fire, and they grill hamburgers on them. They say they taste great. I think they taste like newspaper.
Oh, my.
Karen, one of the things you talk about in the book is the types of fuel. And that has to affect taste, doesn't it, the type of fuel that you use?
It does. Gas grills are great because they are quick and easy. You just turn them on. They're clean, easier cleanup. They stay cleaner. You aren't getting your hands all, black and sooty from handling the charcoal briquettes. But when you cook over the charcoal briquettes, you do get that charcoal flavor.
But some of us love that, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So some of us don't like the other types of flavors, right? So it's just a question of personal taste. That's what you're saying.
Sure.
What about like that wood chip flavor?
And the wood chips you can use on a covered gas grill, but the wood chips are really much easier to use on a charcoal fire, too. And
okay.
You always let them soak for about 30 minutes, and then when you have that nice ashen coal with, kind of a red glow underneath, that's when you throw like a handful of the soaked wood chips on top
so make sure that you let them soak ahead of time. That's what you said. Let's go to our callers. They've got some tips for us, and Karen can throw in her comments as well. Tom, you're up first with our guest Karen Adler, the Barbecue Queen. Hi, Tom.
Hi there.
You got a tip for us?
Well, I use a gas grill. I have a nice Weber gas grill, and one of the things that I found is keeping the metal grates clean. A couple of times a year I wash them off, and then I put them in my self-clean oven. They come out looking brand new.
Oh, really?
Great idea.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, it really does it, because I use quite a bit of barbecue sauce and that, and it tends to crud those up.
Yeah.
And after a while, I don't know, I feel better when it's clean.
Now, Tom, doesn't some of that old baked-on sauce just add a special flavor? Come on.
Well, I was a scoutmaster for 12 years. If you want that kind of flavor, you have to go out in the woods and eat off the ground.
Well, thanks for that tip, Tom.
Okie doke.
And you stay tuned to WHO, because a little bit later on, we're going to award a copy of Karen's book, Q Queen's Easy Grilling and Simple Smoking. Jan, you're up next on WHO Radio. Hi, Jan.
Good morning.
Do you have something that you barbecue?
Yes, we have a gas grill also. And whenever our family comes, the son-in-laws always say, Mom, the favorite thing are your potatoes on the grill.
Potatoes. And how do you do them?
Okay, I take a russet potato, scrub it well, don't peel it, and then slice it lengthwise across 3 or 4 slices, salt and pepper between, put a nice chunk of sliced onion between each layer, wrap it back up. You don't have to put any butter in it. Get very low cal. Wrap it up double foil, and I put it on the grill on about low or medium. Don't want to go too fast. And turn it about every 10 minutes. In about 40-45 minutes, they're done. They're so excellent. If you're really watching your diet, you don't need to put any butter.
So you don't put any kind of oil or anything on them?
I just wrap them up. But you
just
do
the cut-up slices with the onion in between and wrap them in foil?
Cut them lengthwise. And when you wrap it back up, it looks like the same shape as the potato you see, and wrap it double in foil. That
sounds good.
It's excellent.
Good. Thanks, Jan.
Don't need butter and sour cream.
Yep. Thanks for calling.
You're welcome.
Karen, what do you think about that? You've got some recipes in the book with some potato things in them.
Yeah, that sounds wonderful. We do a lot of onions on the grill, sliced onions or onions chopped up, kind of stir-fry size with other vegetables that you can put in a basket on the grill.
Right.
And I call it stir grilling instead of stir-frying. And same thing, you don't have to use oil on it. You just season it with your dry seasonings and fresh herbs, and the onions caramelize a little bit, so you get that beautiful sweetness from them. And that would be the same thing you're getting in those delicious onion and potato wrapped in foil.
This show is just going to make me hungry, I can tell you that. But first, let's go out to Brass Armadillo, one of my favorite places. And Van and Bonnie are out there. They already gave a whole bunch of things away, and they're meeting a lot of their friends. Hi, Van and Bonnie.
Hi, good morning. I hope you're having a good day.
Great day. We're talking about grilling out. I bet you're going to do some of that this weekend.
Oh, that's mouthwatering. You know, we do that all year round. We've got the grill right outside the kitchen door on the patio there, so even when it's freezing cold, we go out there. We don't care. We, just slap it on there and go in and watch it out the window.
So right now we've got the Barbecue Queen, Karen Adler. What do you think people choose to put out on their grill? Well, the number one choice for what they're going to be grilling this weekend is steak. Number 2 is hamburger, followed by chicken, pork, hot dogs, and then at the bottom is fish. But Karen Adler, I noticed that you kind of specialize in fish. I think you have a whole fish barbecue recipe book, don't you?
I do. I have a book called Hooked on Fish on the Grill.
And is seafood easy to do on the grill?
It really is. The key to good seafood, period, is to make sure that you're buying from a quality provider so that it's nice and fresh when you buy it.
Okay. And
then when you put it on the grill, the best tip I can give is steaks are easier to do, like fish steaks, than fillets. The fillets are more delicate, and they can, fall through the grate.
Fall apart. Mm-hmm.
And the steak is a uniform width, so if it's 1 inch thick, you're going to cook it 10 minutes per inch of thickness. 5 minutes on one side, 5 minutes on the other.
Okay. Now, doesn't the heat level also have a lot to do with fish or any other thing that you put out on the grill? I mean, that's why you've got to be really careful how close you put the heat element to the meat that you're cooking, right?
Sure. And when you're grilling, you're usually grilling over a medium hot to hot fire. So that's why everything cooks so quickly. And when you're grilling, you're usually cooking tender cuts of meat. Mm-hmm. If you had a real tough cut of meat, you'd be more inclined to use your smoker on that.
Okay. And we'll talk about smoking here in just a minute. Let's go back to the phone lines on WHO with Marty. Marty, what do you make out on the grill?
Well, I have a question. We were in England for 2 weeks in April, and they grill out, and beef is not sold on the bone in England because of mad cow disease. And we had the most wonderful lamb, and they stuffed it with turnips and parsnips and onions. Do you know about that?
Was that a leg of lamb?
Yes. Mm-hmm. And you cut the meat horizontally, and then with the parsnips and turnips and onions. It was wonderful. And beef is wonderful too, but they do not sell it on the bone over there because of mad cow disease.
And Karen, is that the type of thing that you'd have in your cookbook?
We do. We have a smoked stuffed leg of lamb.
Yeah, we had lamb over here, and it's not the lamb they sell in England. That the lamb over here is almost horrible. Mm-hmm. But the taste over there is wonderful, even roasted. But it was parsnips and turnips and onion and parsley and grilled out on the grill. My brother-in-law did it, and it was wonderful. And I said, it tastes like beef. I'm a beef person. He goes, well, it's lamb. And I'm going, hello. No, it's really good. So somebody might want to try that.
Yeah, it's good advice. Thanks, Marty.
Have you done chicken breast with just marinated in wishbone dressing?
Sure.
With raw garlic and everything.
Yeah, she's got some marinades in the book too, Marty. So
wonderful.
Thanks a lot for calling. You may want to pick that up. One of the things I've always wanted to know, how come that smoke follows you around no matter where you go around the grill? And Karen, one of our listeners called in. She thinks she knows why the smoke follows you around, and that's been one of my curiosities. Every time I grill, the smoke just follows me wherever I go. And Betty is on the line. Hi, Betty. Why do you think it follows you around?
Well, I saw that explained one time by using an infrared camera.
Oh.
And the people were standing around a barbecue grill, and each person, their body was like a chimney. The heat from your body creates a chimney-like effect, drawing the cooler air from away from you, drawing it towards your body, and then it goes straight up in the air.
Well, isn't that something?
And so it draws that smoke from the grill or your campfire, and the smoke was drawn towards the bodies and went right straight in there. It was kind of a comical thing to watch, but it explained it scientifically.
Well, it happens all the time.
Happens.
Every time. Thanks, Betty. I appreciate that. And Karen, is that pretty much what you've heard too?
Yes, and also the scent of the smoke is with you because it lingers. It lingers on your clothes and in your hair. So even if you're grilling and you put wood chips on the grill, it may not have time to really permeate the meat that much, but your sense of smell is part of your sense of taste. So you get that flavor from the smoke when you're eating the foods from the grill.
Karen, let me ask you a couple other questions. First of all, you're from Kansas City, and Van mentioned earlier about grilling all year long. Most people probably put their grills away at the end of the summer, but there's no reason why you can't grill all year long, is it?
No, you can grill all year long, and that's one of the other advantages of a gas grill, too, because they're so easy to just turn on that fire, and, it gets hot fast rather than the charcoal in the wintertime, which is more of a hassle.
Now, what about when it rains? We've got kind of a rainy, overcast day here in central Iowa. Does that have any impact if it's raining as far as grilling?
Yes, it does. You have to be careful of the elements and the moisture that's in the air. And also, if you're going to be grilling in the rain, it's nice to have an overhang to put that grill underneath.
Kind of douses that fire kind of quickly, doesn't it?
It sure does.
And what about people who have the opposite problem? Let's say they're grilling out there and all of a sudden the fire flames up. What's your method of getting rid of those flames without dousing the fire?
Have a spray bottle of water handy, and then that light spray of
very
water.
Light, very, very light spray?
Mm-hmm. That light spray will help. That it's also nice that if you have that flare-up, that you can move the food to the other side and then douse it rather than spraying the meat that you're cooking with the water, too.
Finally, Karen, what about the ecological concerns? You know, some people say that grilling outside adds negatively to our environment.
There isn't anything that's perfect in our world today, isn't that right?
Yeah.
So I can't imagine that many grills causing that much problem. Car exhausts have to cause more.
Right.
Chimneys cause more, and it depends on the geographical area of your city too. If it's laying in a valley or if it's up on a hill.
Well, Karen has all sorts of great barbecue tips. She even suggests like some barbecue utensils, essential utensils that you need. She explains the different types of fuels, all in this book, Q Queen's Easy Grilling and Simple Smoking. Karen, you have a bunch of other books dealing with barbecue as well, right, that you publish?
We do. We carry over 150 books on the subject. So
wow.
We're going to be able to pretty much help you pick whatever it is you're looking for.
And you cover different parts of the country, too, like Texas and Memphis and all these different styles, right?
You bet.
Thanks, Karen Adler, for being with us as we continue our Memorial Day weekend show. But first, out to Van and Bonnie at the Brass Armadillo.
You're really hitting home with that smoke thing, you know. But
yeah.
I'll tell you, I have used that to my advantage because the smoke always comes to me and the bugs always come to me, and I like to rent myself out at parties, you know, and just stand them over here. There's where we want the smoke to go.